I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello. What is going on? Why is that screaming at me? Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We are working right along, doing well, and everything is going smooth here on the Political Spotlight. This is episode 542. We are so happy, joy. We're so happy that we do not have internet issues this evening. Man, I'm telling you, it's so crazy. The internet issues last night were ridiculous. And I tell you, I was talking to somebody and I said, you know, when the cable company tells you, like, they give you a time, a lot of different people do this. They'll say, yeah, that'll be fixed between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. We'll have it fixed somewhere between that time period. Everybody else in the world, every single person tends to be at like between like the 11, 11:30, maybe 12 time period. I don't care what it is, where I'm at. I am always the person that it gets fixed at 2:59. If they say it's going to be fixed at 3, mine will be fixed at 2:59. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter when I was living in the apartment complex. It didn't matter when I moved into my home in Muncie. It didn't matter when I moved to Winchester. It didn't matter when I moved around a couple different places in Winchester. It didn't matter when I moved back to Muncie. If I'm at my grandparents' house and it happens and I'm there and the internet or the cable or something goes out at my actual home and they say, well, it's going to be, you know, between 11 and 3. While I'm someplace else, the things will get fixed by like the first part of the time period. But if I'm like at Kate's house and the shit's out there and they're like, well, it's going to be between 2 and 5. It'll always be 5 p.m. It'll always be like, that's just a curse that just happens. It's ridiculous. So it's fixed. Everything's running smoothly and we should be out of any issue. The last time that I had a little bit of gremlin issue where we couldn't log on, I called the Xfinity people and they came out and they hooked up some new wiring. They said that there was some wiring in the house that hadn't been changed out since like the 90s. And they said, I'm just a 230 kind of guy. Listen, that is, I need that on a shirt. That is probably the most, it defines me. I'm just a 230 kind of guy. When Xfinity was here last time, a couple of strange things happened. They said, "Oh man, your cable under this house, we're surprised you're able even to access the internet. Like it's not been fixed since like the 90s." So they did some things and they fixed it. Then the guy crawls out underneath him with like all these spiders on him and everything, which everybody knows, like, I don't do all that. I'm like, okay, you got to go. He's like, do you use the internet? And I was like, what? Yeah, I called you here to fix the internet. What kind of question is that? He's like, no, do you like go on the internet? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, no, do you like do something on the internet? Like, he's like, I think I know you. And I was like, oh, I know where we're going. And I was like, yeah, I've got like a show. And he's like, yeah. And then he told me that I had interviewed his wife back in like 2019. Kate, do you remember the lady that I interviewed? That happens all the time. It's really strange. I was standing in Indianapolis one time, getting ready to go into an event, talking to somebody. I was talking to someone, and this older woman, probably about 60 years old, leaned over to me and said, "Are you Kristopher Bilbrey?" And I said, "Why, yes, I am. Thank you very much." And she said, "I thought it was you. I recognized your voice." And I was like, "Ooh, that's weird. I'm famous. Look at me. That's what all this is about. Screw all you people. It's not about politics. I don't care if Dan's hurting you or if Trump's good or bad or whatever's happening. I don't give a shit. I just care if people know who I am. Pick me, pick me." So yeah, that guy was like, "Okay, well, we fixed your stuff." But he told me, he said, "But you're in an area where the internet stuff on the outside, out in the world, hasn't been updated yet." And he said, "That's going to be happening soon." He said, "When it happens, you won't be able to access the internet for like a whole day." And I was like, "Well, that just sounds like a regular day with Xfinity." You know. And he's like, "Yeah, I understand." He's like, "But once they fix it, you shouldn't ever have a problem again." And I was like, "Oh, that's almost like a hold my beer kind of statement. Like, you don't understand me and internet trouble. Like, I am the king of internet trouble." So we'll see. I don't know if that's what they did. I don't know if that's what yesterday was. Is today Tuesday? The great holiday, the great Columbus Day threw me off. It's very much like Christmas. It threw me off, and I'll be discombobulated until next Monday. But so yeah, that's what happened. I guess I don't know if they'd be doing that on Columbus Day or not. How rude! They should be letting those people be at home celebrating what that wonderful man did for us. So I don't know. Well, okay. We weren't here last night, and I had some things that I really, really wanted to discuss with you, but I didn't get a chance to. And so tonight, we're going to get a chance to discuss it. Now, the Madison County Council meeting occurred this evening, and it is apparently over because I've been getting messages from people who were inside the meeting. I watched a bit of the meeting, and then I had a couple of things going on, so I bounced in and out. I guess the doc is going to come on at some point and tell us what happened. Not today, and tell us like what happened. Maybe Catherine can leave a comment here and let us know. She's all right there. There it is. She said it's over and it's disgusting. Now, Who knows what that means? There's probably a lot more behind that, and she's free to comment in the comment section if she would want and let us know, and we'll work a time to have her on. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is the Board of Works meeting in the city of Muncie. Are we taking bets on whether or not the meeting will be live streamed? They have not live streamed a Board of Works meeting in tomorrow. They've not live streamed for 3 weeks. So tomorrow, Alva, are you here? Is tomorrow 3 or 4 weeks? Either one, let's face it. Either one, it's a problem. It is a problem. It should be a problem. And I have been prepared. Yeah, right, Catherine. When is it a public access issue? Well, I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's 3 weeks in a row is a public access issue. What I will tell you is I've been all prepared to call out Amber Green for this issue. And then today, I find out that Dan the Mayor man, and I've got to ask Amber about this. I haven't had a chance to speak with her, but I'm hearing that Dan is just not doing anything as far as getting it. Like, he is just saying, like, well, it's somebody else's issue in here. Like, like maybe we can get the secretary to do it. Maybe we can get the police officer to do it. Maybe we can get, that's just not a way that this needs to be handled. What's he doing with his ferret boy, the guy that he just is in a little box that he unleashes to go out and just do things? What's that guy's name? Oh, Dustin Clark. Why aren't we paying Dustin $125? What is 120? Okay, if he's getting, Kate, here's some math. So if it's $125 an hour, so this would be easy. I could probably do this, but not in my head. So you got $125 per 60 minutes. What is he getting paid for a 6-minute Board of Works meeting? If you could figure that out for us, that would be grand. What's he going to get paid for 6? Like, why can't he do that? It shouldn't be that hard. Wait, do it again. 13. So $13 an hour or $13 a minute, $13 per 6 minutes. So per every 6 minutes, he's making 13. He's making $13 per 6 minutes. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's also an interesting point, and we're not anywhere close to discussing that yet, but we're going to at some point. We're still 2 years away. I'm hearing all kinds of weird rumors about who's going to be running for mayor against him on the Democratic side, and it doesn't truly matter because they're not gonna beat him. Okay, that's just the way that it is. But I'm hearing that Jeff Robinson is definitely running for mayor. I'm hearing that he is definitely running for re-election. I'm also hearing that Andrew Dale is actively telling people that he's running for mayor in 2027. Now, I find that to be just utterly preposterous because he's the Democrat Party chair, so he shouldn't be the chair. and running for mayor. I've got a problem with that. But I guess I need to just reach out and ask Jeff Who and Andrew Dale what the deal is, because a lot of people are also saying that Nora Powell is going to run. She's not going to run. Nora's not going to run. Nora is going to, if Dale runs, if Dan runs again, and it's almost an absolute guarantee that he will. The only way, what are you doing on Facebook? You know better than that, Rachel Clark. Hey, listen, everybody. Listen, for those of you that watch the show, Rachel's going to be part of the Big Boy Club now, because her own official thing came in. It's finally in. And so with this bad boy and this bad boy, oh no, what have I done? She'll be able to look like me. It'll be great. It'll be grand. More importantly, she'll be able to sound like me. It'll be fantastic. Yeah, so to talk about, most of you can't see Rachel because she decided to come in via Facebook for whatever reason, but Kate will put her up on the screen for a little bit until we can bully her into coming on to YouTube, the YouTube side, where she needs to be. Nora won't run if Dan's running, because Nora sounds so weird me saying these things. Nora is too politically astute and understands that she better just wait for her time. Now, I was talking to somebody earlier, and they're like, man, that's like Nora being counselor for 16 years. That would mean she would basically be waiting her turn for 16 years. 16 years plus the off 4 years. That's a lot of time. Woo! Yeah, but I would be happier, Total Madness, if it was like Rachel Clark, so people would know who we're talking to. Because half the time I forget it's you. Hey, look, Alva's here. The Mayor in the Chair, isn't that a Dr. Seuss book? It feels like one. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be really weird. It would be really crazy to me if Andrew Dale ran and Jeff Robinson ran and Nora Powell ran. That's not going to happen. Oh yeah, Alva, thank you, Kate. Kate in with a good question, because Alva's here now. How many Board of Works meetings have we not live streamed? I think I'm going to attempt to go to tomorrow's meeting. No, you don't need to go back and watch the beginning. So there have been 3. So if they don't live stream tomorrow, that will be four meetings. Now, to go back and answer Catherine's question about her statement, like that something needs to be done. When is it a problem? When do we do something about it? And Kate and Catherine are going back and forth saying like it's more than a public access. It's a problem. It's breaking the law. The problem is, like all of these other laws that the Indiana state legislature works on, and we are going to look at that, and we are going to cover that a lot starting in January. Starting in January, when the new election cycle's up, and it's a lot of people will be running for the House and for Senate, we're going to do a lot with state government and looking at what they do, moreover, looking at what they don't do and things like that. And one of the gripes I'm going to be griping about is how anytime they make laws for us, they have all these wild penalties at the end where you're in jail for years and you've got to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines and all of this other crap. But anytime they do something for them, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Looks like Megan got in as a new member. Welcome to the new member club. I thought that you had done this before, but now you're saying something about an old account, a new account, something like that. So, problem is, one of these days I'm gonna see it's cause you're on the broken side of the fire and EMS side. You've got not much real life understanding. My boy Eric Hoffman can only do something if the state legislature writes it in the criminal code. So if the criminal code says they have to live stream meetings, and if they don't, it's a fine, and the city gets fined, then there has to be someone to impose that fine and help that, or something like that. But in this case, it doesn't say that. It says they're supposed to live feed, but if they can, it's no big deal. They need to do it. If they do it, I don't know. That kind of thing. Hey, really quickly, I probably do need to address this just in case something crazy happens to me. I was going to wait and talk about it on the other show, but I'll probably address it here, and I might address it over there too. So I've in the last couple of weeks, ever since I had the weird new COVID deal that I had. Yes, is exactly, Alvin. The same as the ethics committee. No teeth, no consequences. Ever since I've had COVID a couple weeks ago, I have had this crazy addiction to Gatorade Glacier Cherry. And that's why this segment of the Political Spotlight's brought to you by Gatorade. No, it's not really. They are not endorsing us. Although you could. Gatorade. Look at this. Okay, so I've been addicted to this Glacier Cherry Gatorade. It's the kind that looks like milky, like a little cloudy. It's not red. It's like white looking. It's kind of weird, but it tastes like cherry, and I've loved this stuff. Well, they don't sell this at a lot of convenience stores. They just don't have it. And I found a place where they have it, and I've been going in. Now listen to this dumbassery. I've been going in, and they have these at McClure's in Muncie for $2. You buy 2 of these for $5. 2 for $5. Okay. So I've been going in and buying these at like 6 at a time. 6 at a time. 6 at a time. Putting them in there. Well, when I went in and bought my last batch of 6, I was like, whoa, they're down to 1. They better find something out. They better get this working. Okay, still not sponsored. So when I went in there today to get a couple, meaning 6, they still had just that one in the same location. Nobody had done anything with it. It was just that one sitting there. And I'm like, what in the world? So then I like walk out. You know how many times I walk into a gas station, walk around the store, and then I leave the store, and I know that they think I'm stealing something, because that happens a lot, and it's like so weird. I hate that. I almost feel compelled to buy something stupid so they don't think that I'm stealing something from them, but whatever. So I left the store, and then I drove down to Speedway, and lo and behold, no Speedways carry these anywhere. So then I was like, what's happening here? So I get in the car, and for those of you that are familiar with Muncie, I drove down to the old Crystal Flash gas station right across the street from Walmart, or from Wendy's on McGalliard and across the street from Rowley's. All right across the street from Fazoli's, that kind of, that area where I'm talking about. Well, I walked in, and instantly they're like, they've got the Indian music playing, kind of like Middle Eastern music playing. You know what's going on? Okay. And they're burning some incense. I thought, man, this is really good smelling. Because I'm a person I love incense. I like the smell of incense. Not like a pot smoker or whatever. I just like incense. It is what it is. I'm a sucker for some good incense, not just like Nag Champa. It needs to be like a good incense, okay? And they've got some playing, and there's this dude behind the counter, and he is definitely foreign of some sort. We will say he was not English. Having a cup of tea, but he was not like English. He was like Middle Eastern, some kind of Middle Eastern descent. And he looked to be, I don't know, I have a hard time guessing the age on foreign people. So he looked to be probably in his mid to late 20s, or maybe early 30s. Had kind of like, he was like, he must have been going on a date right after he got off work or something, because like he was like, hair, his shirt was all unbuttoned and his hair was popping out of his chest, and like I guarantee you that the ladies in his little area like love this guy, because he's like a good looking man. You can tell, not gay or anything, but I could tell that this guy was like a good looking dude. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like, a bum, and he wasn't like all, he didn't look like this, And so I walk in, and I walk, and holy crap, they had them. And so, yeah, very metrosexual, like, he had it going on. You could just tell. And he was in there, the music was like cranked. That was happening. It was like the incense was like floating in the air. I was like, thought I was gonna like have a seat on the floor and start smoking opium or something, So I'm like, oh God, they've got these. They had like 4 rows of them. So I thought, you know what? I'm not buying 6. I'm buying 8. So I carried 8 of these things up there. We're carrying up there. And I set them down, and he's like, oh, do you like these? And I was like, yes. I do. And he was like, do you need more of them? And I was like, no, I got what I got. He's like, but do you want more for a good price? And I'm like, what are we talking about here? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, for you. And I'm like, I bet you say that to all the guys. He's like, for you. And he's like, starts punching on a little keyboard. He gets out an abacus, sliding things back. Tick, 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 tick. And like, it's making me kind of weird because, like, I don't know what's happening now. Like, I'm in the middle of like a drug deal over a Gatorade, and he's like, telling me what's happening. I'm gonna have to like sample it there in front of him or whatever. And so he says, I was like trying to change the subject. And it gets weird here. So I was like, oh man, that's some really good incense you got burning. What kind of incense you got burning? And he instantly stops what he is doing. He walks around the counter. Instead of leaning over the counter and pointing, he walks around the counter and he backs me up, kind of like he backs us up. And I'm looking down at where they've got the incense. And instead of taking his hand and pointing, he grabbed my hand and he used my hand to point. And I'm like, whoa, what are we doing here? Now this is really weird. So now I'm like, oh, I got to buy it. Like, you touched me. So then he quickly goes around the counter and does his thing. I reach down and I bought some of this French lavender, Nag Champa French lavender incense. It smells good. It's really good. KN. Here's the founder. This guy. It's like his grandpa or something. I don't know. But so then I come around the counter. We are officially married in Pakistani law. So I come around the counter, or no, he goes around the counter back to figuring out, and he's like, I can do you a case of these for $49. And I look at him and my eyebrows go up, and he's like, $47. And my eyebrows are still up above my glasses. And he's like, $46. And I drop like one eyebrow. And he's like, 40 for you, I can do 45. And I'm like, well, how many's in a case? And he's like, 15. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty good deal. That's like $3 a piece. That's a pretty good deal. And he's like, so you want? And I was like, you mean with what I've already bought? Or are you going to give me like, I've got 12 here. Are you going to give me 3 more? Like, what are we talking about? I don't understand what we're talking about here. He's like, you come in Thursday at 11. You come in Thursday at 11 a.m. I have it for you. And I'm like, oh God. He's like, you have phone number? And idiot me, I give him a business card. And he's like, oh, the political spotlight. And I was like, hello, guy. He's like, I'll check you out right now. He's like, I'll check this out. So if you're on here, dude, welcome. Hello. Hi. I am a straight male. But thank you very much. I appreciate your kindness and your offering. It was wonderful. I can never go back into Crystal Flash ever again. But then I got on the phone with Rachel, and she's like, dude, if you go to Walmart, you can get them for $1. You can get them for like $1.80 piece. So now I've got like different dealers trying to push their wares on me. I've got the Middle Eastern guy pushing, what are you doing? Hey, while you're here, could you please bring me one of these? Oh, let me see that. Let me see this. This is cool. All right. Well, hey, can you bring me one of these and I'll give it back to you? Look at this. Look what just walked in the door. Look what just walked in the door. I don't know what this is. Look at this. I don't know why she would walk this up here. It's like, I'm not talking about anything real. So I don't know. It's not like I'm like, hey, you're bothering me. I'm on a podcast. Oh, no, here. Everybody likes it. Some people said cute. Patchwork cat. So I'm just going to I'm probably going to go through Rachel as my new Gatorade dealer, unless I have been totally radicalized and I'm now part of ISIS or something. Pay $3 to your new husband. All right, so on to the show. Hey, my grandmother wants that. It's yours. I'll bring it to you tomorrow. I don't know what she's doing with it, but okay, onward with the show. We've got a lot to talk about. You would think that we wouldn't have. Real quick before we check, I'm also in a bidding war for a MacBook, not a MacBook, but a Mac computer. I got to check that really quickly. Let me see. That's something else that is Rachel's fault. Most of the problem with this day has been Rachel's fault. Where's the one? Oh, did I not get it? I'm going to be really disappointed if I didn't win it. I guess I didn't. Well, you would think they would have sent me an email. No, why in the hell would I tell you where it is to have you bid against me? That's nuts. There's no way I would do that. I will tell you where this is tomorrow, and you can bid against. There are things to bid for. There will always be there, but I've got 2 bids I got working right now that I'm like, ooh, I could be real close on. All right, anyways, onward with the show. We've got show to talk about. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't tell anybody until after this bid. Are you bidding against me too, Rachel? You idiot. You better not be bidding against me. That would be stupid. Deja vu. Okay. Well, so what I need to do is I need to give you my passwords and stuff, and you need to go in there and bid for me. I need to tell you like what your cutoff points are, and that would be something good for you to do for me. Okay, so we've got things to talk about. The Indiana Public Access counselor sent me some emails, and I want to let you all know where we stand with the public access the Indiana Public Access Council counselor has responded to me. Give me 1 second. Let me tell you what we've got. So I issued. So here's what happened with the Indiana Public Access Counselor. I filed a complaint. I'm pretty sure that David Williams filed a complaint. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. He should have. I sent him the information. And my mother filed a complaint because she actually was made very upset by all of this, and she messaged me and said, I want to file a complaint against this. And I was like, okay, we can do that. So I assisted her in doing this. She assists with the show from time to time. And so we sent out her complaint on October 9th. The meeting was the 6th. We sent her complaint on the 9th. I had to compile a bunch of things. I did that. And I also sent a complaint as well. So I think that there are 3 of us that filed complaints, and the Indiana Public Access Counselor has picked the complaint up. Round of applause. She has picked the complaint up. Okay. Now, I want to read you all something that's concerning, however. She's been in office. She's been in office since March. Okay. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's 7 months. 7 months. Okay. And this is from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. This was released actually today. It was released at 6:30 a.m. today. Indiana Public Access Chief issues first 2 advisory opinions of her career. What? Okay, let's listen to this. Indiana's top public access official has issued her first 2 advisory opinions and resolved more than 30 other complaints for 2025 so far. Public Access Counselor Jennifer Ruby made her opinion writing debut with repeated reminders of recent limits on her powers. Lawmakers in 2024 narrowed the source material for non-binding opinions to the plain text of public access laws and valid Indiana court rulings. Ruby's first months in office were marked by complaints for non-responsiveness, a big issue around Indiana. Okay, just one of the big problems that I hear from a lot of people are they send in a complaint, or excuse me, they send in a request and they hear nothing. They send in a request and that's all she wrote. They don't ever get a receipt. They don't ever get an email response. They don't ever get the records. They don't even get denied. Okay. And Luke Britt would pick those up and would fight for those after 30 days. So if they failed within 30 days to comply, you could file a complaint and he would take them on. Okay. So it goes on to say Governor Mike Braun's office said that she had to tackle a sizable backlog. Why is Governor Braun speaking for her? His office shouldn't be speaking for her. The governor never spoke for Luke Britt. Britt would speak for himself. She's capable of speaking for herself. That's strange. I don't like to see his fingerprints all over this, and I can see it all over everything that she's got going on, and that's not good. In her first opinions issued on September 24th, Ruby weighed in on a dispute between one Hoosier and the new Carlisle Town Council over economic development project records. The complainant, Deborah Durrell, sought information about water use for Amazon's data center project, such as non-disclosure agreements and communications between a flurry of parties, and any agreements or communication about the completion of an electric vehicle battery plant under construction by General Motors and Samsung SDI. Durrell sent the towns a record request late last year on December 6th. The town's attorney offered up limited documents on January 2nd. That included a blank NDA form because the town didn't have the signed copies, and a redacted copy of utility service agreements. The town didn't have other documents that she requested, like those involving officials working for the county or Chamber of Commerce, and said that it had no agreements with GM or Samsung. It withheld other communication, citing confidential attorney-client privileged work, ongoing negotiations, and trade secrets. Durrell filed a formal complaint with Ruby's office on January 29th. Ruby opined that Indiana law does not require governments to create records that they don't have to satisfy record requests. So she defended the redactions. She also defended the redactions, noting statutes protect utility customers' confidential personal information and withholding of other confidential information. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, for instance, has found that the utility customer water usage data can be confidential and can be looked at as possible trade secrets. Although Indiana statute only allows the Office of the Public Access Counselor to consider public access statutes and case law when issuing advisory opinions, Indiana case law provides that the IURC can be given wide discretion in matters within its jurisdiction, Ruby wrote. Therefore, it seems reasonable for OPEC to consider an IURC opinion when determining whether the water usage information has the characteristics outlined by the Indiana case law and qualifies as trade secrets. She issued an opinion saying the town did not break the public records law. I would agree with her on this, and it's really tough, and I hate it. I've never not one time filed a record request for paperwork that is included in an NDA. Now, there have been times that I have thought that things were put under an NDA that should not have been, and I have fought that issue, but I have never said, oh, this is something that you're, right now, or this is something that Winchester's doing with a non-disclosure act. I want a copy of that because I know they're just not going to give it to me. They're not going to give it, so there's no real reason to even ask for it because they're not going to give it. You have to find other ways to get the information, and there are other ways to get specific detailed information, even if it isn't the specific documentation you're looking for. You can request various emails, and I try generally to stay away from requesting emails from attorneys unless it's definitely something that isn't them giving their opinion to their client, because that would definitely be called work product, and they wouldn't have to give that over. That would be attorney-client privilege. Now, the next one, yes, Kate, that's good. Okay, the next one is an open door dispute. The second opinion from October 2nd involved a township official seemingly iced out by his own colleagues. Now, listen to this. Green Township Board Chair George Coffey accused Township Trustee John Fletcher of violating meeting access laws by not telling him soon enough about a December 19th meeting that the board's other two members had called. So this is a board of 3 members. All right. I'm going to say it again for the record. I do not believe that any boards should have only 3 members. I think the county commissioners should be at least a 5-member board. It should be a 5-member board. I don't believe that Board of Works should be a 3-member board. I think it should be a 5-member board. I don't think there's any things that should be, because listen, basically that is any 2 people get together and they like, yeah, we're on team us, and everybody else is froze out of any other consideration ever. That doesn't seem like what people would want to be happening. It seems like it goes way. I do not like that. Explain. You got to give more than just you're wrong. You got to give words behind it. Going on here. Hoosiers are entitled to notice at least 48 hours before a public agency's governing body meets. In this January 9th complaint, Coffey said the board members usually were notified by email, but that this time a letter arrived in the mail on the day of the meeting. Fletcher defended himself by responses to Ruby's office. He argued that Coffey had emailed asking if there was a meeting and that the township attorney had responded December 18th with the date and time. Fletcher also included a photograph showing the letters to all 3 board members that were mailed on December 16th. Ruby noted that the U.S. mail often takes 3+ days for delivery. She argued that Coffey was at a disadvantage and the other 2 board members knew about the meeting since they called it, and that only Coffey was left in the dark. The photograph itself, she added, leads our office to believe the respondent knew that mailing the notice and the agenda would be an issue. That's the reason they took the picture for the evidence. All right, let me see what she's saying here. You're wrong. I was a trustee. Couldn't get 3 people to join the board. In theory, it's a great idea, but realistically, getting people to do it's impossible in really small towns. So let me tell you what has to happen there. That's such a crazy, dude. You gotta be, we're going to have to fight this out on the other show. Some of your thoughts seem so crazy liberal to me. Because you're telling me I'm wrong because people are lazy. I'm not wrong because people are lazy. The idea can be right. We just have to fight the laziness. I get that in small communities, it's hard to get people to do stuff. We don't say, oh, it's hard, so we don't do it. We say, oh, it's hard, we've got to fight back against this. If people won't run, then there has to be a way to have people appointed. If people won't volunteer to be appointed, we have to find ways to seek out. But I'm just saying, having a board where there are 3 people making the decisions. Let's just look at the Delaware County Commissioners. Let's look at James King and Shannon Henry. Okay. Let's even say, for the sake of argument, that it wasn't King that Stephen Brand beat, but let's say Stephen Brand beat Sherry Riggin. So now let's say we've got Stephen Brand button heads with James King and Shannon Henry. I don't care how hard-headed Stephen is. I don't care how good at debating he is. I don't care anything about that. At the end of the day, if Shannon and King are like, we're doing A while you're doing B, we're going left while you're going right, we're doing up while you're going down, ain't nothing he can do about it. There's literally nothing he could do about it. Having a board that would be a 5-person board would make it to where at least it's, 2 people. 2 people is all it takes. That's really easy to do. It's really easy to get 2 people on the same board, even same train of thought on a board, even if it's just for a time being. Like, they could change their mind at some other point, but if the vote's taken and done, it's over. So I get what you're saying. I get that it's difficult. We'll have to have this argument out, because that would be interesting. Because I get what you're saying, but I just say we have to fight it. Fight. All right, moving on here. She wrote that it's unlikely that the mailed letter or the township attorney emailed the response was sufficient as written notice, but added, as the statute is silent on the timeline and the method of delivery for written notice, I decline to define sufficient written notice. Ruby opined that Fletcher didn't violate the open door law, but that the conduct violates the spirit of Indiana's code's provision for ad hoc special meetings. She recommended that the township trustee use and the board consider adopting policy to ensure that all board members get consistent notice. So now this one, I disagree with her 1,000%. And I think that what's going to have to happen is it's not going to be this public access counselor. It's going to have to be another public access counselor. And I don't know who that'll be. I don't know when that'll be. But we're going to need a public access counselor that's going to have to push back against the governor, going to have to push back against the Indiana General Assembly. And they're going to have to just pick and choose and buckle down and do the right thing. Not, kowtow, bend down and bow to those in charge. Okay. It goes on to say the pack settles in. Opinions represent 2 of 34 cases that Ruby has resolved as of last week, according to the spokeswoman for the office, Stephanie McFarland. Now, listen to this, because it sounds like, well, Bilbrey's just bitching because 34, she's been doing a lot of work over the last 7 months. Even their office says resolved is a fluid term. That's what they say. The article says she took care of she's resolved 34 cases. And the public access counselor is saying, well, resolved is a fluid term. Some complaints may have been withdrawn. Like, for example, in this same time period, I issued a complaint against Blackford County, but then 3 days later, I was able to get what I was requesting, so I then pulled the complaint back. So I filed it, but then I'm one of those 34 cases. I filed a case, but I pulled it back. I am not saying, and I will never say, that because I pulled that back, she didn't have a damn thing to do about that. And I'm not being disrespectful to Jennifer, but when I file a complaint and I pull it back, that's not Jennifer doing anything about it. That's me saying, "Oh, I got my records. I'm pulling it back." Let's see here. Some other cases have been rejected due to jurisdiction or pending litigation, One complainant may have received their requests and no longer needs it. She's speaking about me. Has to be. Because that's exactly what I did. Hoosiers can find links to opinions on the agency's website once they're uploaded. Receiving and resolving complaints is an ongoing process, so please continue to visit the page above throughout the year for published opinions. The McFarland wrote. Braun appointed Ruby to the role in late March after the former PAC, Luke Britt, who ran the office for about 12 years under the previous governors, Mike Pence and Eric Holcomb, resigned. Britt said, I always said that if I found that my voice was getting ineffective, it was time to leave. And that might have been my sign with that legislation, he told WFYI at the time. House Enrolled Act 1338, J.D. Prescott, also made the PAC serve at the pleasure of the governor. Before, one could only be fired for cause. One nonprofit opened a public access hotline to alleviate the pressure on the new public access counselor. So I read that, and I read that for a reason. Now, I received a couple of emails from the public access counselor's office. At that same time, I have to say, I'm very worried. I'm worried about the timeliness of Ruby's office being able to handle complaints, because I called her and spoke to her. I tell you, the very first time I spoke to her was the 26th of September. And when I spoke to her at that point, she told me that she was and had been the only person working in the office full time. She said that she had received a couple of interns that were floaters, and they kind of worked wherever was needed and whenever, and they just kind of floated back and forth. And so they were never there long enough to actually learn anything and to keep consistency. And so that kind of was like, nice to have people around, but nothing was getting done. She also just talked about how, there's very little funding for this or whatever's going on. So I'm very concerned about this. I'm very, very concerned, because this is a very important office who, with their advisory opinions, have always been, under Luke, it's always been a useful tool. Now it's like having a hammer that the handles broke on, having a screwdriver that you broke the teeth off on the screwdriver, having pliers that don't ply, having a wrench that don't wrench, and I hate to say that about Jennifer, and I'm waiting to see, maybe we'll have a great response in this, but I'm worried. I'm worried she's overworked. First off, I don't understand. They need to get her some help. We need to demand this. That's an important office that she has. So I don't know. I keep trying to get in contact with Luke Britt. When he left, he disappeared. He fell off the face of the planet. Not only did they defund her, but the other thing is they took any power away. They took any of her power away. They took Luke's power away, See, what they told Luke was, as an attorney, Luke always used the Indiana code, his past experience and training in that field, his past experience as an attorney, and like Black's Law Dictionary, and the famous line from Luke was, they have gutted my powers so much that they're saying I can't even go and look at Black's Law Dictionary for a definition of a word. If it's not in Indiana code or the black and white speech of the text of anything that the General Assembly's put out, then it's not useful. And like Kate said, Luke did this to himself. They were going to do it without him. They were going to do it without him. But the fact that he got up and spoke on behalf of JD's nonsense, and the fact that he was like, "Oh yes, this is wonderful," is crazy to me. And so, yeah, this was definitely a screw up on his part, and it screwed him right out of a position that I think he loved. I think he liked being that aid to the public, that watchdog. I think he enjoyed that, and he was never rude about it. He got along with the people in power, and yet they chased him out of there because they, like Kate said, the pack had too much power to protect the people, and there were other people that did not like that. So I'm saying that we didn't have access to engage our elected officials when they were handling business in their illegal closed door meeting. She's picked up that complaint. She's picked up Rhonda's complaint, my mother. And if David has issued a complaint, I'm assuming will have picked up his complaint as well. I'll have to reach out to him to find out. Now, there won't be 3 complaints. Basically, what will happen is whoever's complaint went through first, which I think was my mother's, will be the main complaint, and all the others will connect in with that. It's kind of like a class action without anything cool happening. And that's exactly, so that's it. All right. Moving along to the email section. Now we want to talk about the emails. We've got some emails, and this is very interesting. I'm going to put these up on the screen and let you see these, and I feel like it's really important to. Yeah, listen, this is funny to me. She contacted me asking. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, Jennifer sent me a message and was like, "I've got a quick question for you. Are are you submitting a complaint for Rhonda DeFreeze? Is there a connection? And I was like, well, yes, she works for me. She works for me. And she also gave birth to me. I was like, yeah, it's a long story. And then she sent me back a message. She's like, okay, no big deal. I was kind of confused. We found your complaint as well, but I was kind of confused because she's like, I thought it was, I don't know. She thought maybe she was doing something wrong, but it was definitely from both of us. So I sent in 2 different emails. I sent my mother's in, and I kind of I explained that I didn't explain that she was my mother, but I did explain that she worked, because mom does do things for me on the side from time to time, and super secret double probation type stuff. So, it's okay. What am I? Oh, I know what I'm looking for. I was like, I'm looking for my Facebook page. Why can I not find my Facebook page? Okay, so I want to take you back to Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, and I want to remind you all of a crazy ass email. Okay, let me show you. It's going to be this email right here. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but here we go. Give me a second. Everything's shut down at once. I love that the main thing didn't shut down, because that would have been shitty. Okay. Mute, enter. Oh, I don't want to leave the studio. I want to share the screen. I want to share some screens. Okay, here we are. I'm going to pull this up here for you guys to see this now. So last week, I don't believe this was Tuesday. I believe this is Wednesday, but I might be wrong. It was Tuesday. It was late Tuesday or early Wednesday that this happened. Okay. And what this is it's a Facebook post. We'll blow it up here. It's a Facebook post from none other than the mayor's executive assistant, Shireen Wagley. Okay. And Shireen's response is just classic Shireeny. Okay. Shireen says, to answer a question posted to me on a page I don't / can't access by a person I can't / don't follow, am I worried? Nope. And it's like every time I read this, it makes me more mad. Is she incapable of just playing like she has a little bit of like poise, or she's a little bit like not just such a nasty, in your face monster? Like, it's just crazy to me. Lack of manners, lack of grace. There's a word that's going around on TikTok talking about like women talking about like JFK's wife, talking about Jackie and how they were like demure or whatever. I can't say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. Demure. And it's like, yeah, okay, there might be women out there like that. It is certainly not Shireen and Chris Kardashian Wagley. You know? And so before we look at anything else, what I want you to think about here is what was the question? To answer the question posed to me on a page I don't or can't access by a person I can't or don't follow, am I worried? Nope. So the question here, ladies and gentlemen, was either, and I don't know which, I was originally taking the credit, but it could possibly be a question asked by Jeff Robinson. So, or maybe there's even a third person out there. I wish there should be hundreds of people out there asking this question. But after the chaos and insanity that ensued at the Muncie City Council meeting on Monday, October 6th, I had a question, and Jeff Robinson had a question, and hopefully others did too, where we said, this looks really bad. This does not look good. And I didn't say this specifically until other people started saying it, just because I knew that it wasn't going to be a criminal thing specifically, I guess. But other people, and I can understand why they would do this, started looking at the criminal codes for forgery and for fraud. And so people, rightfully so, started saying or questioning whether or not she could potentially be in any trouble because of this. Now, I did not see anybody say, Shireen's been found guilty. She's a felon. Shireen's going to court. Shireen's going to prison. She's out of luck. She's done this. This is her. She's guilty. I've not seen anybody post that. And I've heard a couple people talking about how someone posted it. A couple people posted it. A couple people said that Jeff Robinson posted it. I've not seen anywhere Jeff Robinson posted that. Honestly, there are a lot of stupid people that run off at the mouth and cock off at the mouth and say a bunch of weirdness. And however weird and however much you don't like Jeff Robinson or whatever, I get it. I'm okay with that. Whatever. That's your deal. And you have reasons for that. And I completely understand and agree that you don't have to like whoever you don't like. I will tell you, that being said, Jeff is a careful person. Jeff's not going to go out there saying crap that's just completely off base and just nuts. He's not gonna go out there and put himself in harm's way, legally. I'm saying. That doesn't stop someone else from saying it or whatever, and I don't know, but I'm telling you, I never said that she was a felon or should be treated like a felon. I don't know, to my knowledge, Jeff hasn't said that she is a felon, should be treated like a felon, and I haven't seen anybody else. I know that Jeff made a statement saying, by reading the criminal code below, this looks like it could possibly be a felony. Is there any truth to this? Will this be looked at? Will this be investigated? And to my knowledge, they're not doing anything. As Kate says, and that's very important. This is probably the most important thing, and I forgot to say that. And then Kate's exactly right. Jeff didn't even say Shireen's name. He just simply stated the code, and others jumped to Shireen. Jeff said, whoever did this possibly could be facing these issues, more or less. If there was a list of people I'd want dismissed, Shireen would definitely be on it if such a list allegedly existed. I want her dismissed. I don't want her working up there. I think she's horrible. I think she's horrible. I think half of the problem that's wrong with the right now administration is because of Shireen. I believe that she has allowed him to think that he does not have to care about what anybody says, I think that she and her influence has really caused a lot of the crap that Ridenour does. I will always say that. So she pops off at the mouth, acting like an asshole, kind of like Rachel said, acting like a kid, being cryptic like a child. She should say it with her chest. So, whatever. How can we expect the administration to do anything? Remember when the council put a felon on the council and Audie had to sue? That's right. Right. So the police aren't going to do anything. The prosecutor's office won't look into this without a generated police report. And MPD, the Sheriff's Department, State Police are not going to do that. So that's that. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. I have sent an email to the Attorney General's office of the state of Indiana. We'll see what comes of this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I just don't think that anything's going to happen here. That's exactly right, timing issues. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They all act the same. So, but here's the thing. She used this email that she had here to explain why she's not worried. Well, wait a minute. Why is she not worried? So let's go down and look at this. So it's got something here, which means the body of the email that you're going to see is actually a response to something. So she's not letting us see the whole email. So keep that in mind. When I put emails up, I let you see all of the whole, I don't hide parts of it. I put the whole text thread up. If you're not going to put the whole text thread up, then who knows what any of that could be. You've got other parts that you don't understand what they're responding to. You've got to put all the shit up, or none of it matters. Okay? So what she wanted us to see was this. Okay? Original message from Dan Gibson. That's the city council attorney. And he sent it on Tuesday, September 23rd at 9:43 a.m. And it was not sent to her. Yeah. That's very important. That's very important. Yeah. So let's examine all of this. What did Shireen post? So at the top of what she shared, it says Muncie City Clerk, 300 North High Street, Muncie, Indiana, 47305, and it's got the phone number. Then it says original message from Dan Gibson, Gibson@delkmcnally.com. It says Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, 9:43 a.m. from Dan to the city, the chief deputy city clerk, Lacey Jones. And Belinda Munson is copied. And the subject is reference. Did this get put back on the next agenda? Okay. And the body says, I think because it was timely submitted, you can just give it a new number and a new file stamp. Thanks, Dan. Okay. And that's what Gibson wrote. And let me see here. That's it. That's all that's there. That's all that's there. Okay. So I said, that's not good enough. I want to know what all this other stuff is. Okay. So I, ladies and gentlemen, reached out to the players involved, and I found the following information. Now, I've requested this from two different sources, and I tell you that because I'll show you why. I'll show you why that matters. Let me blow this up. Not 300%. That's a little much. Okay, 200. Okay, here we go, people. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, oh man, Kate walked away. She'll want to see this. Okay. This is the start of our email journey. Okay. And it looks like, okay, original message from mayor at muncie.in.gov. Now, for those of you that might not know, you might be like, oh, that's the mayor of Muncie. It's not. Mayor at muncie.in.gov is Shireen Wegley. Yeah, right. Why does Shireen have this email? She's not the mayor of Muncie. That's so ridiculous to me. That's so ridiculous. I was thinking. That's just nuts to me. So on Monday, September 22nd, which that's an important date. Why is that an important date? And look at the time. The time on this is Monday, September 22nd at 4:06 p.m. Well, let me tell you when the clerk's office leaves. The clerk's office leaves right around 4 o'clock, a little before. And Monday the 22nd is the filing cutoff for the October meeting. So if you want something on the October meeting, it has to be submitted to the clerk's office by noon on Monday the 22nd. By noon on Monday the 22nd. So look at this. The mayor at muncie.in.gov. First of all, Shireen should be sending emails from her own email account, not from this generic mayor at muncie.in. Because you'll see down here, Dan Ridenauer is CC'd, and Dan Ridenauer's email is D. Ridenauer. Okay, just a little trick. If you want to send something directly to the mayor, don't send it to mayor at muncie.in.gov. That goes to Shireen. If you want to send him something that goes directly to him, send it to D. Ridenauer at muncie.in.gov. Chances are Shireen's still going to open it first, but at least I believe it does go to him. Okay. So that's that. So she sends this to Lacey, which is a member of the clerk's office. She's the chief deputy in the clerk's office, city clerk's office. She does really like playing the mayor. It's gross. Okay. So she sends this 6 minutes after the end of the day. And the subject is, did this get put back on the next agenda? Good night. So it says, Lacey, I believe this may have been withdrawn rather than tabled at the last meeting. Will it be on the October meeting? Do we need to resubmit? What do you mean? Yeah, it was withdrawn. No, it wasn't tabled. No, it won't be on the October meeting. Why would this be on the October meeting? That's like Shireen needs to get with it. These people that have been up there for as long as they have and they don't have an understanding on how things need to work. That's nuts to me. Absolutely nuts. Well, this was the first thing. School, look what actually happens here. I believe this may have been withdrawn rather than tabled last meeting. Will it be on the October meeting? Do we need to resubmit? Okay. So this was sent to Lacey and Belinda, copied Dan on it. So the mayor is aware that this is going on. So he is culpable, okay? Now we come up here and we see the next email. All right, this is Lacey Jones. This is Tuesday. This is the next day. Lacey responds to Shireen. Lacey sends it to Munson, and she copies Dan. Did this get put back on the next agenda? Lacey says Dale withdrew it, so it will not be on the October agenda. It will need to be refiled. Okay. So Lacey tells her, like, look, this has to be refiled. Now, listen, to me, what this means, if I'm Shireen, if I'm Dan, if I'm anybody in the world, I see this as the council member will have to refile this the same way he always has. An attorney has to sign off on it, either the city attorney or the city council attorney, and one of the controllers. Okay. Yeah, right. Right, Karen. Okay. Dale withdrew it, so it won't be on the agenda. It will need to be refiled. That's pretty simple. Okay. So that was Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 at 8:13 a.m. This is like 2 minutes later. 2 minutes later. Shireen at Mayor says Tuesday, September 23rd at 8:15. Lacey, Belinda, Dan. Did this get put back on the agenda? I thought that was the resubmission. If it's not on the agenda already. I don't even know what she means by that. Kate's saying, isn't this email sent the day that the deadline for some? Yeah. Well, all right. So hold on, because we'll answer that question here in a minute. So they're going back and forth on this, and apparently, so that's why now I just have these emails. I got these emails from the council. Okay. And the reason I have these from the council is because I got them from the council attorney. I asked the council attorney about having these emails the other day. He said he needed to think about them. He needed to make sure that they weren't attorney-client privilege. I responded back, well, your client isn't the clerk. And then he explained to me why he thought, well, I need to see if it's like, tangentially related. But he did complete this request. I have also requested this request from the administration, and I am waiting on it, and I will be fighting for it, because I also, not only did I ask for them from the emails, I asked and I told them I want the attachments they sent. So I will know when Shireen sent the sent whatever. I'll know if she sent it down there. If she didn't, I'll be asking when she walked it down there. We will be getting that information. So we don't know right off the top of our head. But so this got sent on Tuesday, September 23rd. Okay. So then so this is from the mayor or Shireen to Lacey, Tuesday, September 23rd at 8:15 a.m. Now we see that Lacey, from Lacey, sent 4 minutes later to the mayor, Shireen, copied Dan, copied Belinda. My question is, why is Belinda not jumping in here? Yeah, that's right, Kate. Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. Shireen thought that the emailing was a resubmission. I guess that's what she's thinking. And it's just so so convoluted, like they do everything. Okay. Lacey sends back to her, says, you attached the original filing. So that's what we have there. So we know that at some point, probably the very first email, Shireen attached ordinance, look, 1625. So Shireen knew what she was doing. She attached 1625. 1625 had all the information on there. The most important aspect of this is Shireen knew that it contained the signature page of Dale Basham, Aubrey Christ, and Controller Craig Wright. That's it. That's it. You attach the original filing that was numbered Resolution 1625. For refiling, it will need to be a new unstamped copy so I can give it a new number. Now, you notice that no one is talking about, hey, you got to do this. You got to have. At this point, Lacey's probably thinking Dale's okay with this. Everybody's up there in the office, Shireen's doing this and they're all okay, because nobody in their right mind would think that Shireen is trying to pass something off as being legitimate and not. Why would you think that? Now you got to think that about everything. Shireen has ruined her credibility. You got to think that about everything. Okay. So for refiling, it will need to be a new unstamped copy so I can give it a new number. Okay. Shireen then sends back Tuesday, September 23rd, 8:22 to Lacey, Dan, Belinda. Oh, thought you could just stamp it with a new date and number. Thought you could just throw a new date and number on it and say that's okay. So that's what Shireen wanted her to do. That's what Shireen wanted her to do. I sent you what we've got. Just go ahead and do it. This is what we expect of you. And as Kate said, there's an SOP for filing an ordinance or resolution that is fairly cut and dry process. Write it, get the signatures, send it, stamp it, submit it. Ding, 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 ding. That's all there is to it. It's not a hard process. Why didn't they just go to Dale? Or why didn't they say, look, Dale's not our guy for this. He screwed up once. We're going to go to Jeff. Or we're going to go to Roe, or we're going to go to Jerry, or we're going to go to Brandon's on a cruise somewhere, but we're going to go to somebody. Somebody can do it. So Shireen lets Lacey know what she thought. And this was at Tuesday, September 23rd at 8:22. So at this point, Lacey's like, I need some clarification. So Lacey reaches out to the council attorney at 8:35 a.m. Lacey to Dan, copyrighted Belinda. Now, you notice who's not attached on this? The mayor's not attached on this, meaning the mayor, Shireen, and Ridenhour's not attached on this. So Lacey is sending this to her boss, and is sending this to Dan Gibson. And she says, Dan Gibson. You got to say that because you don't want people to think that it's the mayor. Dan Gibson, can you provide insight on this? Below is correspondence between the mayor's executive assistant and I. So she sent all of this to Dan. She tried to resubmit resolution 1625 yesterday after I had already left. So now we're getting the clues. She sent that at 4:06, and she sent they waited to the very end of the. Why would they wait to the very end of the day? Why would they wait? They knew what they were doing. They were hoping that this was going to be a quick oversight, and they were just going to do it and throw it on there and be done. No questions, no problem, whatever. So she says, below is correspondence between me and the mayor's executive assistant, between the mayor's executive assistant and I. She tried to resubmit resolution 1625 yesterday after I had already left, but just submitted the same resolution from August. Not a numberless, unstamped copy. Since Dale withdrew it, I am aware it has to be refiled. But can they just refile the withdrawn solution with the same number? Should I just white out the August file stamp and resolution number and correct it? I don't think a situation like this has ever came up, and I just want to make sure everything is legal. It's much appreciated. Thanks. Thank you, Lacey. Okay. Dan then simply responds at 9:44 a.m. Tuesday to Lacey and to Belinda Munson. We're not seeing Dan. We're not seeing Shireen. And he says, I think because it was timely submitted, you can just give it a new number and a new file stamp. Thanks. Now, that's the email that Shireen is using to say, look, he approved it. He said this was okay. But listen, she's wanting us to assume facts not yet in evidence. We're not going to assume, I'm not going to assume that he just thinks everything's on the up, or that he doesn't know that this is a cluster. He's thinking everything's on the up and up. Why would he not assume that everything was okay? First of all, Dale does whatever the administration wants. So if Dale's involved, listen, I'm going to tell you the exact thing that I would have thought. Ding, 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 Karen. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. I'm going to tell you exactly if I was in Dan Gibson's shoes. I would assume, and that's bad to do, I would assume that he, thinking, how it goes, he thought Dale submitted 1625. Dale then withdrew 1625. And sometime between September, the September meeting and September 22nd, Dale had a meeting with Dan and got his ass chewed and was back on the team. And so he resubmitted it, because what did Dale say? Dale said that he didn't want to muddy up the budget process. And although it was very close and kind of crazy, and the same thing I thought, Dan's thinking, well, they're going to vote on the budget process at the October meeting, so it's basically over. So he, maybe it's important to Dan to get done in this time period. He's going to go ahead and do what he's going to do. Except that's not what the case was, and Dan didn't learn that. Dan Gibson didn't learn that for a moment. But as soon as Dan learned that there was an issue, he was like, no, that's not okay. That's not okay at all. Because as Kate said just a moment ago, I do have an email from Dan Gibson explaining the situation. And I sent that to him on October 8th, 7:15 p.m. And I just simply said, reference the confusion over Resolution 1725. The mayor's executive assistant has posted an email from you that I will post below in this attachment, saying basically that because the new Resolution 1725 was timely filed, that it would be okay. I heard at this council meeting, I heard that at the council meeting too. However, Councilor Gullion made a statement that you sent the email and said what you said because at that time you thought that the mayor's executive assistant had Councilor Basham's approval and the signature along with the other two appropriate signatures. But once you found out that it was not the case, your opinion changed. Is that correct? To which Dan Gibson responded to me that same evening, Wednesday, October 8th at 7:15 p.m., and he responded saying this. Chris, as stated in the attached email, which was the email showing the conversation with Lacey, I stated to Lacey Jones that Resolution 1625, which was previously withdrawn, could be resubmitted and given a new file stamp and number. The reason that I stated it could be filed, the reason I stated it could be filed was that the resubmission of the original resolution was timely, emailed, and contained the necessary signatures for filing a resolution. Now I'm going to pause and let you know why this is, because I've been saying this whole time that the filing period is noon on the last day. And the 22nd was the last day. It was noon. So if they sent it at 4:06, why is he calling it timely? Because even though they have a deadline of noon, there is an unspoken rule, or not a rule, an unspoken understanding that as long as you submit something before midnight, they will take it. So if they get in the office the next day and a council person has submitted something at 11:48 p.m. that last night, they will do that. They will do that. Okay, Mama, thank you. That's hilarious. So that's the reason he's saying that it was timely, because it didn't happen before noon, but it was happening at 4:06 p.m., which was plenty of time. Okay, so moving on. As with any resolution or ordinance submitted by the administration, I assumed that the required signatures were authorized and the submission filing was authorized. Got it? He assumed this. I assumed that the required signatures were authorized and the submission filing was authorized. In my opinion, when a document is filed with the clerk's office with the required signatures, it is implied that the use of those documents is filed with the clerk's office with the required signatures. It is implied that the use of those signatures for filing is authorized. Nobody would think that there's something fishy going on here. Therefore, I stated that the resolution could be accepted for filing, but recommended that the resolution be given a new number and also stamped with the date of resubmission. As you know, I am out of town and was not able to attend Monday's council meeting. I have not had a chance to watch the recording of the meeting, but it is my understanding that Councilor Basham indicated that he did not know the resolution was being resubmitted for the October meeting. In my opinion, if Councilor Basham did not authorize the use of his signature for the purpose of resubmitting the resolution and did not know the resolution was going to be resubmitted, then the resolution was not properly filed for consideration by the council, period. Common sense. And yeah, Kate, why would he not think that? Hopefully this clarifies any confusion regarding my opinion on the issue. Thanks, Dan. And so that's what we've got there. So all of that to say, when I get everything from the administration, and I'm suspecting that I'll have this. We have a council meeting on Thursday. Okay, it's the council meeting where they're going to go in. This is the big showdown. They're going to vote on the budget. We got a lot of questions. I'm going to be there. We're going to be live streaming it. Of course, we'll be live afterwards. We got a lot of stuff going on, folks. It's going to be crazy. That being said, and the thing is, because this budget meeting will solely be focusing on the budget, this stuff will not come up in this meeting. This stuff will not come up. The next time this will come up will be in the November meeting, which will be Monday, November 3rd. So that will give me plenty of time to get the other emails. I have officially requested, stated, demanded, called out. I don't know how else you want to say it. I have officially asked the council to do what they have the power and the authority to do. I'll show you here. I sent this, I posted this 16 hours ago. I'll show this up. You won't be able to see this very well, but we'll give it a try anyways. Okay. So what this is my Facebook post from earlier today. It says, I'm calling on the Muncie City Council to utilize their investigatory powers to thoroughly investigate Resolution 16-25/1725 fiasco that came to light on Monday, October 6, 2025. When it was announced on the record that Councilor Dale Basham had not filed Resolution 1725, that he had not signed off on the resolution, and that it was instead the mayor's executive assistant, Shireen Wegley, who filed the resolution, it was shocking. When that came out, it was shocking. I tell you, it was crazy. You guys saw it and thought it was wild. To be in that room, it was electrifying. It was nuts. However, but by Tuesday morning, the mayor's office and the rest of the administration were acting as if there were no issue and nothing unusual had happened. And that's just not okay. That's just not okay. It appears that the Muncie mayor, Dan Ridenour, is not investigating the incident, and that leaves only one other option. The Muncie City Council will have to take matters into its own hands. It isn't widely known, but the Muncie City Council has investigatory powers as provided to them by Muncie Ordinance/Code and Indiana state law. The ordinance investigatory powers, the council's investigatory powers are fully outlined in the picture that you'll see below, and I'm calling on the council to exercise its powers to thoroughly investigate what happened between the September 8th, 2025 City Council meeting and the October 6th, 2025 City Council meeting. I am calling on the council to thoroughly investigate Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour's executive assistant Shireen Wegley's actions, the city clerk's office involvement, and Councilor Dale Basham's knowledge and involvement or lack thereof, as well as anyone else who could have potentially been involved. Once the investigation is complete, I call on the council to release its findings in a regularly scheduled or special meeting, and from there, I would expect them to take any and all necessary legal actions. The link below shows the discussion of Resolution 1625, all of it from September, and the discussion around Resolution 1725, all of it during the October 2025 City Council meeting. And then I shared the link. And then I said, shared the stay tuned. And then, so everyone is aware, I shared, this picture, Shireen. I shared the documentation so everyone could see, and it's very clear cut. There's no confusion. There's no way to confuse this. And this comes directly from Muncie Muni Code. This is on the city's website. I pulled this off and I highlighted it because I'm going to give copy of all of this to the council members on the November 3rd meeting, as well as it's been emailed to them. And it just says Section 32-08, investigatory powers. A, the Common Council may investigate the departments, officers, and employees of the city. In this instance, I'm asking them to investigate specifically Shireen Wegley, but anybody else they have the power to. 2, any charges against a department, officer, or employee of the city. And 3, the affairs of a person with whom the city has entered or is about to enter into a contract. B, when conducting an investigation, the Common Council, 1, is entitled to all records pertaining to the investigation, and 2, may compel the attendance of witnesses and the production of evidence by subpoena and attachment served, and sorry, I was looking at the comments. May compel the attendance of a witness and the production of evidence by subpoena and attachment served and executed executed in Delaware County, Indiana. C, if a person refuses to testify or produce evidence at an investigation conducted under this section, the Common Council may order its clerk to immediately present the circuit court of the county a written report of the facts relating to the refusal. The court shall hear all questions relating to the refusal to testify or produce evidence, and shall also hear any new evidence not included in the clerk's report. If the court finds that the testimony or evidence sought should be given or produced, it shall order the person to testify or produce the evidence, or both. And I then laid out where this can be found. It can be found in ordinance number 12-22, and the other places, state law reference Indiana Code 36-4-6-21. So this is very easy to understand. It doesn't take much doing. The council just has to decide they're going to do it. And again, it's frustrating as hell because everyone's running around acting like, oh, it just doesn't matter. Like, what's the big deal? What's going on here? Why does this matter? What's going on? And I'm like, dude, this is a big deal. So went through the access issues. We're in the right place there. Went through the emails. We're getting some stuff done there. I should have some record requests from what I heard today. I should have some record requests by the end of this week. Happy about that. They very well could include the emails here that I'm talking about. I definitely feel good that I will have what I need by the November 3rd council meeting. We will be prepared to go into the Muncie City Council meeting, the special meeting on Thursday. I do have my full documents written up here and prepared, ready to go, and we'll see what happens. Now, Kate, to answer her question, Kate says, question, who prepares the packets for the council? The council packets had the signature page, but the clerk does not have that page. So, number one, I fully believe that Lacey Jones prepares the council packets, as well as the packet that goes online that we can all see. on the City of Muncie's Facebook, on their website. So I fully believe that it's Lacey Jones. I have to get to the bottom of what the deal is with the blank copy. Did you hear like a surge? Nothing happened there? Okay, sorry. I have to figure out what happened with that blank copy. Kate says, how did that signature page disappear? That's a really good question. And it's a question that I hope people have to answer under oath while giving testimony during a council investigation into what's going on. I think that the council has to do this. I literally just had somebody message me today. When I posted this thing up, somebody messaged and said, "What's the resolution you're referencing?" LOL, what resolution 1625? Someone said, Bryson Moore said, "Get over it." Okay, get over it. Yeah, our elected officials are now using signatures of people that they don't have authority to use to do stuff. Yeah, let's just get over that. That's not a big deal. This is a big deal. It has to be reviewed. It can't just be brushed under the table. I know it would be so much easier for Ridenhour if we just quit talking about it and everything was easy. Unfortunately, that's not how it's going to be. I'm fighting this until the end, and we're going to make a big deal about it. Period. So follow along. We're going to have a lot more to do here. We're going to have a lot to say about this. I'm very scared that the council's going to say, no, there's not a point to do this. Nora likes to rock the boat when it's her idea. Nora's not going to be willing to rock this boat. She doesn't want to do that. She's going to think I'm being dumb for pushing this. That's no big deal. And that's mind-numbingly stupid to me. That's mind-numbingly stupid. I'm going to push them all on this. What if they use her signature? And that's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to send out the email to Basham. I have a couple questions of Basham. I'm going to ask him privately before I ask publicly. So I'm going to give him a chance to do the right thing and answer. I'm also going to send out the question to Belinda and to Lacey and find out about this blank copy, where it came from, who they think put it in there, who they think took out the other copies. We're going to see. And then we're just going to go from there, because this is something that does have to be looked at. And I just feel like nobody else cares. Everybody should care. Nobody cares. Everybody does. Nobody does. I don't know. So we're going to fight it, and we're going to see what goes on. So until then, you guys take care. Have a great rest of your evening. We will be back here tomorrow. We'll be looking at the Board of Works thing. The Board of Works is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thursday is the MRC meeting at 9 a.m. Thursday evening, I think the meeting is at 7. Am I right? 7 p.m. I believe it's at 7. 7 p.m. I think they called it for 7 on Thursday. We will be live. I would say that meeting will go a little long. It wouldn't be crazy long, because they're not doing anything else that they normally do. They're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance roll call and get right into Ordinance 30, 31, and 32. So we'll get right into that. And then we'll go from there. But this is a fight that I am not giving up on. Unfortunately, it will be kicked down the road a little bit, because we have to get to the November 3rd meeting before we can really explore any of this. Unless the council wants to come out and say it at Thursday's meeting that they're going to do this, that would be lovely. They don't have to wait till I get them at a meeting cornered. They could go ahead and say this Thursday. Hey, we've decided after this, we get this budget done, we're going to go to town. We're going to put on our Sherlock Holmes hats, and pull out our packet of heroin and cocaine and mix up a little 7% solution and get to work. So we will see, but either way, we'll be there and we will keep you guys posted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening. Have a great tomorrow. And we will see you back here for episode 543 tomorrow evening. Until then, take care. Good night. God bless. Goodbye.